If you really want to understand someone who's truly powerful, you don't just look at them when they're on top. You have to look at the journey, the long, winding path that got them there. And let me tell you, some of those paths are more surprising than you could ever imagine. So, how is a leader like that forged? Well, this is the story of a boy who was basically born with a silver spoon in his mouth, who was then thrown into the absolute harshest world imaginable, only to emerge, decades later, as a global heavyweight. It's a journey of transformation that's almost hard to believe, one that didn't just reshape the man, but really, it reshaped the world. So picture this. He starts his life with every single advantage. A good home, a great lifestyle. I mean, his father was one of the nation's great revolutionaries. So for the first few years of his life, this boy's world was completely secure, comfortable, and right there at the very center of his country's power structure. And then, just like that, in a flash, everything changed. The fires of the Cultural Revolution just swept across the nation. His father became a victim of that intense political struggle, and the boy's entire world was just turned completely upside down. I mean, the speed of the fall was just breathtaking. One day, he's a prince, the son of a national hero. The next day, his father's jailed, and he's a pariah, a social outcast, stripped of absolutely everything he's ever known. His world didn't just change, poof, it vanished. And get this, he was only 15, just 15 years old when he was sent away to a remote, impoverished village for so-called re-education. A teenager, completely and utterly alone. There was no house waiting for him when he got there. His new home was a cave. Literally, a cave dwelling carved out of a mountainside, just like the one every other villager lived in. Talk about a stark, brutal change from the comfort he was used to. And this was his daily reality. His bed was literally made of bricks and stone. Food was always scarce, and his body was constantly covered in these painful flea bites. The physical hardship he had to endure was simply immense. At first, this city boy, which is what the villagers called him, he just couldn't take it. He ran away, tried to get back to his old life. But he was caught, and he was immediately sent right back to that same village. There was no escape. And this was the moment everything changed for him. He understood his situation, he saw the suspicion in the villagers' eyes, and he made a decision. He decided, I will not run. I will make my place here. He would stop fleeing and start fighting, right there in the dirt. And so he began this incredibly methodical journey. He forced himself to master the hard labor of the fields, carrying these heavy sacks of wheat until his body ached. Slowly, through sheer, raw effort, he earned the villagers' trust, and he earned their respect so much that they eventually chose him as their local leader, their local party secretary. So what was his next goal? Well, this is astonishing. He decided he wanted to join the very party that had imprisoned his father and destroyed his family. But because of his bad background, he was rejected. Not just once, but time and time again. Still, he just kept applying. When he finally did get in, he didn't make any grand statements, he didn't seek revenge, no. Instead, he became invisible. He played the long game. He kept his head down, his profile low, and he began this slow, methodical climb up the ladder. Always careful never to appear ambitious or threatening. And this is where his patient strategy paid off beautifully. The party leadership, they saw exactly what he wanted them to see: a reliable, simple, safe pair of hands, a man with no threatening ambition. It would prove to be one of the greatest political miscalculations of the modern era. I mean, the timeline of his ascent is just staggering. From being exiled in a cave in 1969, to finally joining the party in 1974, to becoming the nation's paramount leader in 2012. That's 43 years. It is an absolute masterclass in superhuman patience and strategic waiting. And once he reached that pinnacle of power, the man everyone thought they knew, well, he disappeared. The mask came off, and he began to show his real strength. He immediately launched a massive anti-corruption campaign. But it was more than that. It was really a purge. Under its banner, he systematically cleared the board of any and all rivals, removing anyone, senior leaders, powerful officials, who could potentially stand in his way. That quiet, simple man was a facade. The reality was a master of working in the shadows, a shrewd strategist who hid his true calculations behind a calm and smiling face. This man, who waited so patiently for over 4 decades, working his way up from the shadows, was Xi Jinping. His story leaves us with a really fascinating question. In the high-stakes game of power, is the ultimate weapon not strength, not wealth, but the simple, unwavering will to endure?